Even more.
Yeah, slowly coming.
Okay. It does work. I have a full day ahead of me, so I'm going to do this. We have a few more minutes, and actually we're going to wait a couple more minutes simply to make sure that everybody that's online, we have about 15 or so people.
Audio really bad.
No, I'll just go. Yeah, there are too many microphones on. So we've got about 15 people online, and that takes quite a bit of coordination with this many computers on. It's a challenge. A few things I want you to note before we start today, just so everything goes as smoothly as possible, and we're all on the same page. One is that you have stickies at the registration day. I'm so magnetic, I create feedback even without anything on it. At the registration table, Can they hear me now? I can talk for hours. Give me a microphone and I will keep on talking. Okay. So that always happens as we bring students in. I do this in my classroom fairly often whenever somebody has to miss class but can log in from a distance. And it always requires a little bit more flexibility and wait time. And currently we're waiting. Well, we can always open a room in Adobe. Okay. So, while we're waiting for this to come up, I do want to introduce Christina Peters.
That's fine.
And we talked. I sent her an email on Thursday and said, "What do you want? What are the good things you want to say about you?" And when I did that on Twitter, and she said, "Can I say it in 140 characters?" And I said, "Absolutely." So in 140 characters, passionate educator, NDE e-learning specialist, Pepperdine Malt alum. You can explain more. EdCamp Omaha co-organizer. Sorry, EdCamp Omaha co-organizer, NITA board member, and social butterfly. That's
true.
The shortest introduction.
I know,
I've ever
sorry.
done.
I mean, we can go more if you need it, but.
Okay, so.
Can you see my slides?
Okay. Well, for a moment, I didn't know it disappeared.
It says sharing.
Yeah. You know what? Okay.
What?
I wonder if I can't go presentation mode. I bet
Okay.
I can't do presentation mode.
Can they see it now?
It's on. See, it's every time I. Okay, let's see.
Now we can see it. Well, we see your little left now.
Okay.
So the share is working.
You are okay.
So your screen sharing.
So if I present, do you still see it? You do. Wonderful. Okay.
You're on.
All right. Okay, and then I'll change that. Okay. We good?
Please help me. Welcome, Christina.
Well, good morning. I'm a former elementary teacher. I'm just going to preface, so if you can do a song and dance, because I used to do that with students, and you can take the girl out of the classroom and you can classroom out of All right, applause. All right, we're off to a good start. Well, as Guy said, I am the e-learning specialist and the school library liaison for the Nebraska Department of Education. I did leave the classroom at the end of the school year of 11-12. So I've been in this position for about a year now. And I've had the opportunity to work with school districts and educational service units and teachers and students all across the state of Nebraska. I live in Omaha, work here in Lincoln, and then I get to travel quite a bit. So I'm very excited to be here with you all this morning. And I remember being in something like this, a seminar at Peru State, whenever I went back to school for education. So my first degree is actually in business and mass communications, and I thought, oh, I'm going to go be a PR person or work in journalism and change social media. Not really. So I decided to go back for education because really my heart was education. And so I did that. I'm from Phoenix, Arizona. So I am an Arizona State alum, but I'm also a Peru State alum, a Concordia alum, and now a Pepperdine alum. I go back to school not really. I love to learn. And you will find that as a teacher or as an educator, you will become lifelong learners. So cliche to say that. However, it's really true. And that moment that you decide that you're done learning, then maybe you can out of the classroom. Only because we are the model of learners for our students. Okay? So today we're going to talk about moving beyond the trends to personalized learning for every student every day. In my work, I work with school districts, and I see that the trend is to buy technology. Whether they know what to do with it, whether they know how it's going to change their teaching, they go ahead and buy it because they want to keep up with everyone else. So we have things like MacBooks. We have things like iPads, Chromebooks, iOS devices, more iOS devices. And then we have all of these things, Web 2.0 tools, things that you can use in the classroom no matter what device you have, and that they are supposed to revolutionize your teaching. We also have all of these, our iOS devices. Again, something that we are supposed to be using to transform our learning and transform our teaching in the classroom. So, here we go. Things changed when Google entered our classrooms. They really did. I was not a teacher at that point, but I can point out some teachers in this room that actually were teachers when Google entered the classroom. And as much as Google has influenced our education in the classroom, we are still learning how to teach or how that affects our pedagogy since it has come in. So here are some fun facts for you. This is actually from 2011. In 60 seconds on the internet, 168 million emails were sent, 694,445 searches on Google, 695,000 Facebook status updates, 98,000 tweets, 13,000 iPhone app downloads, 25 hours total of YouTube video uploads. That was in 2011. Now, they didn't put anything out in 2012, so you skip ahead to 2013, and let's see how some of these things have changed. 204 million emails are sent, 2 million searches on Google, 41,000 posts per second on Facebook, 278,000 tweets, 3,600 photos every second on Instagram. Do I have any Instagram users? Okay. Yeah, all right, okay. 72 hours total of YouTube videos posted. That's in 2013. Every 60 seconds. So here's 2014. 138.8 million emails sent, 2.66 million searches on Google, 293,000 statuses updated on Facebook, 433,000 tweets, 67,000 photos uploaded on Instagram, and over 5 million videos viewed on YouTube. So I have a question for you. What does this mean for students in our regular classroom? Turn and talk to someone at your table. I'm going to give you about 10 more seconds. So what does this mean for our students in a regular classroom these days? I did forewarn guys, this would not be a traditional keynote, so talk back to me. What does it mean? Are you seeing this right now as your student teaching? What does this mean?
Students at a younger age are introduced to technology.
Okay. Yeah.
I have one.
Yeah.
Well, we talked about how we wonder if students will become less receptive because they're so used to learning through technology instead of in person.
Base their identity on their online presence. How
That's very true. Were there any of those statistics that stuck out to you? Crickets. Okay. Mickey, I'm waiting for my crickets. She said she had sound effects for me if things fell flat, so it's fine. All right. Well, obviously you can tell that these are affecting our students that are in the classroom. So we're going to go on now to the actual Nebraska Department of Education technology report. Now, every year, as part of E-rates, which is how your schools and your school districts get funding for internet and for web safety and things like that, you have to have certain elements that you talk about your devices and what technology you have for your students. It's not so much fun stuff to actually collect from our school districts, except we finally started taking that data that we had at the department and actually giving that back to the school districts. So this was actually presented at the administrator days at the end of July. You will see some significant changes from the first year that we gave this data back in 2013 to this past year. You will see in 2012 and 2013, we had 1.61 devices per student, and that has actually gone down now to 1.47. That is taking all of the devices, no matter where you are, and then figuring that against the over 300,000 students that we have in this state. So really, that's 1.5 devices per student. Now, there are pockets where you're going to find that they actually have one-to-one classrooms and one-to-one schools, and then you will find schools that have no technology, and that is just very common. Okay, but this is promising. This is a good thing for our state that we have so much technology that is accessible to our students. So we've added over 20,000 devices in this past year. There's 134 districts that are one-to-one. You all know what one-to-one is, correct? One device per student, okay? And then we had all of our public school districts that reported this year. So our parochial schools and any of the other schools that private, they have the option whether or not they report. This is good that we had such high participation. Then we have our one-to-one and bring your own device, or BYOD. We have 134 schools that are one-to-one and 32 that are doing BYOD, and that is going to continue to grow even this next year. One of my former districts, Ralston Public Schools, they are trying to implement BYOD this year, so they'll be adding that on for next year. So I already know that's going to jump up to 33 for sure. And then you can see obviously the percentages that we have 53% of our Nebraska schools that are one-to-one and 13% that are doing BYOD. Iowa, if any of you are going to go teach in Iowa, you should know that they have significantly more schools that are one-to-one. Not saying that we're behind, but we're catching up to them. So again, this is promising. Our instructional technology. We had, in 2012, 27,959 mobile devices, and our desktops were 159,000. You can see that we've had over 15,000 more mobile devices in the past year, including over 7,000 more desktops. So 1 out of every 5 computers is mobile. So what does that mean for your teaching? Talk to your neighbors. I'll give you about 10 more seconds. So I heard lots of great conversation. Who wants to share out? What does this mean for your teaching now? Yeah, you're gonna have to queue up those questions.
I think in education we need to be flexible. Next greatest thing is always going to be down the road. So we need to be able to move from device to device with fluidity and not worry so much about the device, but about the skills that are needed to operate the device. And those skills are transferable no matter if you're using an iPad or a Chromebook or a desktop.
I was just going to say, too, that it takes away the need necessarily for always having to go to the computer lab or things like that. You can use your technology throughout the day, not have to wait until the computer lab to do it throughout the day.
Anyone else? Well, to further add on to those statistics, here are some more information, or here is some more information about our mobile devices. In 2013 and 14, we had this difference here of 2,814 that were using some sort of device. So you're thinking your Galaxy Notepads or any of the Windows tablets. And then you had 1,400 people that were using Chromebooks. And then look how many are using iOS devices. And that could be iPod touches, iPods, iPads, anything that is Apple related. Those are significant numbers. And I'm anxious to see Mickey Mueller, who's actually representing Norfolk Public Schools today. They just rolled out Chromebooks. So we're going to see those numbers continue to go up as well. So this is some more data that we see that is definitely showing that we need to be flexible in the way that we are working in the classroom because you see a variety of devices. The last one, and I had to include this only because you heard my introduction, I love social media. So this was actually very fun to present back to our school districts across the state in the fact that we have school districts that are embracing social media and they are meeting their stakeholders, community members, and parents, and even students using Facebook, Twitter, and even Google+. And so we hope to see that continue to grow as well. And I will even give a little shout out to Nebraska Department of Education, who is finally embracing social media as well. And we're starting to use Twitter. And we have our first Facebook page, and that's really exciting. I know it's very far behind the times, but it's very exciting for a state government agency. So this is pretty fun. So this is a traditional classroom. Well, it looks colorful. It looks like a 21st century classroom with the really cool chairs, but they're all in rows. It's still that industrialized classroom. Is this providing opportunities for students to collaborate? Is this providing the opportunity for students to work in groups? No. So it's still your traditional classroom with your traditional hallways in a brick and mortar school. So my question to you is, what was your experience with technology and learning growing up? With all of this data that I've shown here, oh, I heard giggles. Oh, you're fine. Well, some of our current student teachers have some experience. With the data shown, how do you think that technology will affect you in the classroom? Go ahead and talk to a neighbor. Woo! And I'll get us back to the right slide. 10 more seconds. So there are a variety of ages in this room, and I'm very anxious to hear what your experiences with technology growing up in school were like. Who wants to share? Yeah?
I just remember that
Okay. Yeah.
It's like the overhead projector with the plastic screen.
Perfect. And that definitely was a technology, brand new technology that revolutionized the classroom. You can believe that? Anyone else? I grew up. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just saying, I remember it was a big deal when we got smartphones like that.
Okay. Why was it such a big deal?
Really like that you could wow, that was huge.
It was pretty awesome. Are you good? Oh.
Just for the people online.
Okay.
You're on.
Do any of our... Yeah, go ahead. Okay.
Well, I just remember we had to like roll in the TV if we ever like had a class.
Indeed. Yes.
And
Yes. Yes.
very strong smell
That got stuck on your hands.
of they get their papers. We had film projectors, so the teacher had threads of film strips guaranteed to put everyone to sleep. And many times they were red because they were all asleep.
Yes.
And I remember reading the email for the first time.
Okay. Yep.
You all know how old I am. Blackboard was black.
It wasn't online.
2.0.
Yeah. Anyone else? I grew up with Oregon Trail and Reader Rabbit. Those were some of my favorites. In fact, I just learned of a Chrome extension that you can actually put Oregon Trail on your Chrome browser, and I cannot wait to try it. So when you had mentioned as far as going to the computer lab, if you think about that for our students, that becomes an event, okay? It's not like I said, oh, we get to use pencils today. That's kind of how we're treating technology right now. Yes, we get to go to the computer lab, and our kids are super excited. But imagine how their learning can change when we bring that into the classroom and use that on a consistent basis. So because of all of this, the Nebraska Department of Education and the Educational Service Unit Coordinating Council, it's a really long name, you might also hear of them as ESUs. How many of you are from Nebraska? Okay. How many of you are familiar with an ESU? Okay. So an ESU basically provides services for a variety of school districts in a certain region of the state. We have 17 of them across the state of Nebraska. And we have a coordinating council that kind of oversees everyone, which is actually just recent. And so in combination, or excuse me, in partnership with ESUCC, we noticed that we needed to start looking at things beyond just a traditional brick and mortar school. In fact, here's a fun fact for you. Elkhorn Public Schools right now in Omaha, Nebraska, their first grade class is so large that by the time they enter their freshman year of high school, it's going to require 7 high schools for all of them. 7. They have 2. They have 2. It's a small community still, even though it's been annexed by Omaha. Still a small community.
So how are they going to meet the needs of all of those students? Even if that is several years away, you obviously have to start thinking about that. And that's really what the Department of Ed and ESUCC has done as well. We started to look at some new ways of meeting our learners' needs and using a blended learning approach. Okay? Blended learning is a combination of synchronous and asynchronous meetings. So synchronous being face-to-face, asynchronous being online. And so how are we going to use that in a K-12 environment? The universities and colleges have been doing this for quite some time. In fact, my first online course was when I was a freshman at Arizona State in 2001. So I've been doing some online stuff already, and you will see that colleges and universities have as well. But now we need to start looking at how we're going to bring that down into a K-12 level. Some of the other elements of blended learning, it's taking that teacher-centered classroom and making it student-centered. So you are no longer the content master, and you have to be okay with that. You have to know that it's okay that students come in knowing more about technology or more about science if they're really interested in bugs, which I had second graders that love bugs, or snakes. Whatever they come in knowing, and you have to be okay with the fact that you don't know it all, and that's okay. So this is what we've started to look at, and I give credit to Julia Forsyth for creating these sketch notes because it's such a great representation of what blended learning is. How we want that to get away from the lectures and sitting in an auditorium like this. And that we want to meet our kids online and out of the classroom. Excuse me. So we have created a statewide initiative called Blended. Okay? Blended learning. We've just changed it to Blended. The people at Bright Bites Labs in San Francisco that have been working with a bunch of our school districts across the state created this logo. And it's been good for us because as we go out and we promote Blended in this initiative and we talk to legislators who actually might help fund this because it has no money behind it right now. It's just simply what our teachers know is best for our students and that they're trying to do it on their own, that we have something to show them. So we are combining traditional elements, classroom elements, with our distance education elements, which we have a good history of distance education. Actually, have any of you taken a distance education class here in Nebraska? Yes? What did you take? Perfect. And where are you from? Okay. Anyone else? Yeah? Awesome. Where are you from? Oh, yeah. My husband's family's from Wood River. Woo, woo, go Eagles. All right. So we're combining this distance education and this traditional classroom method with our online delivery, which you know what Blackboard looks like, and our participation. This was actually one of my Pepperdine classes that we met in Google Hangouts 3 times a week, and we would do group projects together. So this was one way that we did our blended master's program. So we believe in student control over time, place, pace, and path, because not all students learn the same way. So once again, I'm going to go back to Bright Bites, and they provided this infographic based on Nebraska data right now, and they provided this that I can share with all of you today. So we're talking about personalized learning and blended learning. So what does that look like? The best learning is driven by the learner. And here is some interesting information that 79% of Nebraska students find it easy or very easy to collaborate online. 70% of students are reading online content. However, many of these learning environments in our schools aren't keeping up with their skills. Only 10% are asked to review information online by their teachers. Only 9% of students are asked to write online, at least monthly. And then here's where it affects you as educators. We're ready to move forward as educators. 6 out of 10 believe that they're ready to move forward with teaching in their classroom. However, you'll see only 50% of teachers in Nebraska schools are getting professional development less than 8 hours. Okay? So what does that mean for you as a new teacher coming into education? You can't always rely on the professional development that your school districts provide. So now I'm going to ask you, where do you find your information? Go ahead and talk to your neighbors. All right, 10 more seconds. You guys must have mental like clocks because, whoo, I say 10 seconds, you're done. All right. So where do you continue to get your professional development? Where do you learn? Pinterest. Okay. Everyone starts there. It's okay. Yay! Twitter. Okay. Perfect. What kind of communities are you involved with?
Primarily the writers.
Do you have any iBook writers in here? Just, okay. Well, we're going to get more. Trust me, we're going to get more.
Students all have iBooks.
Nice. Very nice. Anywhere else? Yes. They're good videos. Good plug. Anywhere else? Colleagues. It helps when you have someone that's super knowledgeable too. Woo! Yes! I'm so excited. Heather Callahan, she's also a co-organizer of EdCamp Central Nebraska, so I'm excited to have another EdCamper here. If you are not familiar with an EdCamp, then you should be. EdCamps are an unconference, so instead of having sessions already decided for you, it's all participant driven. So you come that day and you determine your own learning for the day. So if you have a question about what do I do when I get into a classroom, because I have absolutely no idea, put that question up on the board and people show up. They're conversations, they're not presentations, and it is one of the best days of learning. So if you ever have the chance to go, EdCamp Omaha is coming up in March. EdCamp Central Nebraska we already had 2 weeks ago. But there are some around here for you to get involved with. Anything else? Yes? Yes. Perfect. Yes. Yes. And Safari Montage is actually part of this Blended initiative. It's a learning objective repository. So think of Pinterest with all of your resources for the classroom, but these are all created by Nebraska educators. And that is what we are trying to build our repository right now with some amazing resources that are aligned to Nebraska state standards and provide professional development, but they also provide resources for you to use in the classroom. So thank you for mentioning Safari Montage, because that will be coming out. It's already out, but we're continuing to develop the repository and get that out to everyone across the state. Anything else that wasn't mentioned? Okay. So professional development, again, I will preface, you can't always rely on the professional development that you get in your school district. You have to be out there and proactive in your own learning, whether that's through Google Plus communities or Twitter. Highly recommend Twitter, by the way. Some of these other forums that you can find that help you find resources, and just meet with other teachers. They're great resources. I will also say that conferences like ISTE or NETA, they have student rates that you can take advantage of while you're still a student. And so a $300 conference normally might be $150. So take advantage of that while you can. So Blended, it's personal. You obviously see that there is some significant data that we have here that that supports the Blended initiative. I feel like I've given you a brief overview of Blended, but we're going to do a little activity. And like I said, we are presenting this to legislators to help us fund Blended, get some more money behind it, and get teachers involved. So I would love it if you would talk to someone and come up with some sort of sentence why Blended should be considered in Nebraska schools. And then, can you tweet it? Because that would be awesome. Use the hashtag TechEdge12. Cool? Okay, I'm going to give you about 5 to 7 minutes to do this with someone near you. Why Blended should be considered in Nebraska with all of this that you've heard so far. So what do you think so far? No, of Blended. I mean, thanks, but... Okay.
before that when you're in college, but imagine that when you're in they come in ready to work in class. So they're kind of learning this stuff at home and then coming in with questions and then applying.
They have that for elementary too.
We're starting.
For elementary, so yeah.
We're starting to get That's a good question. Actually, given our state regulations, yes, for seat time.
I have a question to that. How do you ensure that every family has a computer supply? Or do they just go to the library? Or
When you have a national community and having to instead of coming like 900 hours and then 755 or I don't know. I would come in and like didn't have access, didn't have like come in, I saw or started today and then
so really elementary. You were elementary.
yes, kindergarten, second grade, and I would feel first grade. So what grade are you in right now?
First.
Okay. And what's your green grade? I thought it was. You thought it was?
I thought it was always going to be younger grades, but I've always had experience in Pakistan with younger grades, so I'm kind of curious like, what like fifth grade or sixth grade would be like. So I guess I'll be a good whatever. Sure.
And I was like that too.
I want
But I have to see I love the young ones, but then
you can do more.
oh, and I love your sarcasm.
Yeah, right. You're right. They don't know when they're young. I've tried it. You're joking, you already know.
So we got really quiet again. So I'm reading through some tweets, which is exciting. Thank you for participating. What connects students and teachers via social media in a positive way? Leah, where are you? Thank you. You're right, it can. Let's see.
Higher ed and let it connect teachers with resource teachers, 21st century.
Perfect. Thank you. Jessa, blend ed is needed in Nebraska. Technology, collaboration, and student independence are all necessary in the future of education. Where are you, Jessa? Thanks. Perfect. Angie, blend ed is needed in Nebraska because it expands possibilities, ideas, connections, and in turn, learning. Awesome. Mickey added, blend ed is needed to help our small rural schools survive and thrive. It's very true. And as someone who's not from here and doesn't understand rural school life, I've come to learn that over this past year, especially with our distance education opportunities that we have, where we have students that are actually taking music courses from the Manhattan School of Music. They are learning how to play the cello from someone in New York City that is teaching them through distance education, and they're live on a Skype call or on a Google Hangout, and they're sitting there and they're playing the cello, they're playing a piece, and then that Manhattan School of Music teacher is helping them, guiding them, facilitating their learning and saying, no, you need to lift your left finger instead of or lift your first finger versus your third finger. It's very, very cool to see that. But you also want to make sure that we have equitable opportunities across the state. There are not very many career ed teachers right now. In fact, there's a shortage of career ed teachers. And we have so many we have such a great need for career ed. I've been working with the career ed department at Nebraska Department of Education, and we have so many industries that are saying we need people that are focused in business. We need skills in technical science. So how do we make sure that people in Gordon-Rushville get that opportunity the same as they would in Omaha Public Schools? Okay, so these are all of the reasons why we need something like Blend Ed. I'm going to see if there's anyone else. Bev says more resources, personal learning and PD, and wider audiences are why we should use Blend Ed Nebraska. Thank you, Bev. Awesome. So these are great responses that I can't wait to take back to my advisory committee. Yay! Thank you all for doing that activity. That's fantastic. So the last question that I have for you is actually, if I can get to it, there we go. My question for you that I'm going to leave you with today is, how will you move beyond the trends to personalized learning for every student every day? Thank you very much. Have a great day of learning. Oh, I think I'm done.
Just keep going online.
Okay. Okay. Oh, yes.
So, thank you very much again. And we are now shifting into our session. Before you go back into the session, please take the yellow sticky note and put them on the table where you registered. If you haven't registered, please make sure you're registered. And we will see you at the session across the room. If you are online, we will connect you to a Google Hangout in the specific room you're interested in. We are not broadcasting from all rooms, so just be aware of that.